Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast.
What do I mean? Don't waste your failures. Well, let's look at your life based upon decades and see what some of the biggest problems were for you. Now, the first 20 years of your life, I'm not even going to go over. Based on that, for the average person, I'll never run out of clients. Okay. But let's look at your 20s. Your 20s are a decade of unrelenting stress. You're getting out into a world that is different than anything we have ever seen. And you're supposed to know how to handle it. I was talking to a parent of a young adult that I've been working with, and one of the parents said, well, in my day, and I stopped him right there. I'm like, your day doesn't look anything at all like what we're facing now. And if you, as an adult, can't even figure out how to assist someone else, like one of your own children, well, then that tells you that these times are different than anything else we have ever experienced. So you can go through what just seems to be unmitigated amounts of stress. And that's your 20s. Your 30s. Your 30s are spent on achievement. Okay. I mean, if we're going to be this stressed out, let's work for something. So it's going to be the vacations, and it's going to be the family, and it's going to be the career. Or maybe you should stay home with the family. Or how do we make it all happen? So you're going after a lot of achievement simply because you think this is going to be able to assist you in letting go of some of the stress. And yes, there are times that you are euphoric, but euphoria is an emotional state that cannot be maintained. Outstanding can. Competency, confidence, outstanding. Yeah, that's where we want to hang out. But the temporary relief that you get from the achievement really doesn't make the stress worthwhile. Then we move into the 40s. And this is when you begin to realize that you might be locked into a life of making things happen and being so extremely stressed. See how each one pyramids on the one before it? You're locked into a life that you don't necessarily like, but you're not quite sure. Can you really do anything about it? Well, then your 50s come along, and in your 50s is when you will typically start experiencing some sort of health crisis based on the unrelenting stress, the achievement that really doesn't assist you long term. It's just a temporary distraction. And you keep repeating the same behaviors, the same emotions, and the same focus because you feel like you're locked into it, because what are you going to do at this point? And then they're your 60s. This is when you're supposed to be retiring and enjoying the good life. For some, more than others, it's simply an escape of everything that they had to do the previous decades. Very rarely will I see somebody in their 60s. I do have 2 clients right now that are there, but it is because of a crisis that they went through in their 50s that propelled them forward. In case you haven't heard my story, just a few weeks, I will be 61. And a couple of years ago, I experienced the awareness of a betrayal that you just can't come back from. So it not only was in my personal life, but also in my business. And I decided to walk away. I walked away from everything that I had built in life up to that point. Now, I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you. It does not matter where you're at. You can choose to begin anew. Now, in choosing to begin anew, yeah, it could have been the easy route of dragging things on through the courts, and I'd walk away with $150,000 to $200,000 in the bank, and my stuff and my business. But I chose, when I said walk away, I chose to walk away. I wanted it over and done with. So instead of walking away with that type of nest egg, I walked away with $75,000 in debt, rebuilding a business, and everything that's surrounding me, except for my clothes and a few mementos, especially my pictures, everything is brand new. Had to literally start from scratch. But I didn't want to waste my failures. So let's look at it. 20s, unrelenting stress. Do you know there's another word for that? Grit. They did a study of 7,000 to 8,000 entrepreneurs, as well as people who were successful in some area of their life in a way that caught the attention of others. They were peak performers in all areas. And they're like, what is common through all these people? And they only found one thing: grit, the ability to keep going. That's what you discovered in your 20s. So if you are there, great. Let's upgrade it to where it's not how much more do you have to grind, it's how much more will you experience where it brings you out at your best. 30s, achievement. You know what you learn there? When you set your mind to something, you can go after it and get it. You will make it happen. But now, based on the fact that you've got grit, for you being your upgraded version, your focus, your feelings, your actions, when you go after something, it's going to be for fulfillment on the inside as well as its corresponding element on the outside, intrinsic and extrinsic. Passion and profit. Can they be put together? Yes. 40s, if you're in your 40s, you're locked into something. Yeah, well, guess what? In your 40s, you discover you got the keys. And so what is it that we need to be releasing you from? There are some things that are keeping you shackled that it's time to let go of that weight. So that's what you can discover in your 40s. In your 50s, yeah, there's nothing like a crisis that brings about focus. That where you're like, well, now I know what's significant and important in my life. And that's what I want to experience because I've got the keys, and that unlocks me going after things and my grit in order to be able to get them. And if you're like me, you're 60s or you're beyond, it's not a time to retire and kick back. If you haven't noticed, the world is a pretty dark place right now. And by the time that you're my age or beyond, well, you should have learned a few lessons about how to turn the lights on, the brilliance, the magnificence. It's time for you to get into service. I don't know where you're at, but I do know, do not allow the pain and the problems and the challenges that you've gone through and what you've actually discovered and learned, even though it might be hidden from you right now. Do not allow it to go unused. Now, whenever I go through an experience, I demand that it brings about, oh, my pup just showed up to say hi. It brings about something that's going to bring me out at my best, or it has to leave my world. So I invest. I don't spend anymore. Well, every once in a while, chocolate. Still have to have that experience that may not be long-term in helping with the stress, but it does give some short-term relief. Okay. Oh, that's Thor behind me. That's the new puppy. Hey, baby. Yeah, 7 months old. When I say I started life over and started it big, yeah. Okay. So if I can assist you with this, oh, by the way, if you're on the podcast, you need to go over to the YouTube channel if you want to be able to see Thor in the background. So if I can assist you with making sure, yeah, he just knocked something over, with making sure that your failure does not go to waste and that it is now seen as an investment that brings you out your brilliance and your magnificence, then go to dawnlandrum.com and you'll see where you can reach out to me and let's partner up so you can give that pain a purpose for progress. Until we get together again, blessings on the revelation of who you really are and the journey you've been on to get there.